So I've got a bunch of things taken off already. What you can see removed is this little brake cover and the other brake cover that goes over the brake cover, and of course the tire. So those are off. This little castle nut was not the easiest to get off, but what I really did, rather than kind of trying to go at it from this round end, I went at it from the flat end. I just kind of used a screwdriver and kind of pried, and then I just used some kind of sharper pliers to make sure I'd grabbed that and kind of yanked it out of there. What we're going after here, clutch, which is back there. This just has 3 bolts here, or 3 nuts, I guess. And then this will be out of the way, and then we can take a look at the clutch. Okay, so our clutch is out, and I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to use some form of these washers and bolts to make my own clutch compressor here. It doesn't really look... It doesn't look too bad, but I suspect the part that's kind of past it is the clutch plates. So let's get this disassembled and find out. So like I said, if you get a couple of different size washers and a bolt, should be able to fashion some type of clutch compressor. I did buy the clutch remover, the clutch puller from SIP, and I'm glad I did, because this did not come out without a fight. So will that fit in there? Yes. So this washer will fit right inside of here, and push these down, and then this will go on the back like that, just in case. I think that'll go like that. Zoop. This will thankfully just barely fit on top of there, and then let's give it a shot. That worked out. Now you can see there's some slack here. The plates are compressed, and so now I can release the tension spring clip here. There's a little gap right there. So I'm gonna get a small flat screwdriver and just kind of carefully pry that out and around. As you can see, I released the spring. This centerpiece then pops out, and then this top plate releases. I did have to kind of just turn this upside down and bang it like this, and things eventually came out. But I'm glad, but I'm also terrified. Herein lies the problem. I mean, these things are completely, entirely fused to one another. I can't even budge them. It's one solid block of these layers, which is what I thought might be the case. It's what the clutch felt like if you were using the clutch. This is definitely worthwhile. Let me try to separate these things. I mean, they are, when I say past it. So let me see if I can try to get that. Even with a screwdriver, I can't separate these guys. There we go. Oh my gosh. No. Yeah, I mean, I can't even believe it. It's a one solid fused piece of clutch plates. So I have all new ones of these. I'm just curious to kind of get in between here and see that. I don't know if they just, I guess they just dried out and seized over time. I have new ones soaking in some oil here. I just put these in I didn't have a container sort of big enough, so I just put them in a Ziploc bag, kind of like you're marinating some chicken or something. What the heck just happened to my light? Here we go. While I'm in here, I'm going to change out the spring, but after fully disassembling this, you can really see I've got all this cork stuck on here, even sort of wiping it, even sort of scraping it. So I'm going to just get in here with some Scotch-Brite and clean this up on both the top plate, because I'm reusing that, and this bottom part of the housing here, because you don't want that. So let me get that cleaned up. I had taken apart this wiring box just to drop the motor. And when I got in here, these wires are in okay shape, but these are definitely not. These wires are pretty kicked. Part of my challenge is I don't have the right ends to reattach. So it looks like someone may have already gotten creative with looping some wire around at some point, but I'm gonna have to see what I do here. I mean, they're barely hanging on there. Here we go. I figured I'd fill you in on where I'm at here. As you can see, I've been trying to splice in. Obviously, there's no orange. That's my blue wire because I don't have blue wire. Likewise, for my green, I just use green shrink tube on that, so I know it's the green wire. And then I'm just about to do the red one. And then I shall try to put this all back together, and we'll find out how it goes. I just wanted to give you an update on where we were at here. I pulled the cylinder and piston off, obviously. And here's a couple things I'm looking at. The most, I think, interesting thing is this is pretty dirty to the point where there's, I can't even get a good zoom on that, but there's actual, I don't know what that is, sort of caked on carbon and stuff on there. And then here's what else I'm looking for, which is how clean is it past the rings? Right, so obviously your explosion is happening up here, but these rings should seal against the cylinder. This should be relatively clean here. And if you look on this side, I'm getting a lot of blow-by over here. Now it's fine if there's a little blow-by, you can sort of see the line of where the ports are. There's like cavities on this side, but it's coming all the way around and even under like this. So that means that these rings aren't sealing tight against the cylinder. The cylinder is in good shape. I got in there with a flashlight and looked around. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of, I mean, you're obviously going to expect some up and down scraping like that. There's a little rust at the top because this sat a long time, so you can see where the piston was, where it's nice and shiny, and where it wasn't when it was sitting. So there's that. The inside of the top here, definitely some gunk. This is gasketless because this is a 64. And also, because this is a 64, this comes off with its own 4 bolts. And then the head comes off with 4 bolts down here. What I'm going to do, and in here is looking a little bit yummy, but anyway, all of this moves okay. They sell a whole piston for this, but I think it's with rings, and it's $75. I'm torn. I think I can just kind of clean this up a little bit and it'll be okay. I think it's really the rings that's the problem. And they sell rings, but I'm going to pull this off and I'll show you the next step. All right, so I've pulled the rings off. I can just get a replacement set of these as is. There's not a ton of miles on this, which is strange. But anyway, I will get these replaced, clean all this up. Obviously, I got to get new gaskets and things. I'll probably replace the gasket for the intake. I'll probably replace the gasket for, there's 2 gaskets actually on this exhaust. I think this is copper. But I'll get those. And then we'll do all the gaskets up nice. When I put my hand over the top of the jug, which is what people seem to call the cylinder, with the top off, and I kicked it, it was pushing air on my hand and sucking my hand in. So there was some compression there. When I tested it with my compression tester, I could barely get it above 40. And that's just not good enough. As evidenced by all this kind of blow by here. So we were definitely getting something escaping. And it shouldn't look like that with only like 3,600 miles on it. I don't know what's doing. So, and yes, these engines tend to get filthy, but I mean, this was really filthy. As if something was like, I don't know, I think it was maybe either leaking from here, just cleaning all this up, changing all these gaskets out, and getting new rings should hopefully sort our compression. I put a ring in the cylinder. You can see the space here, and I've got a feeler gauge, and I'm just trying different sizes to see exactly what this space is like. 0.7 still there. I tried 0.8 already, so I know it's smaller than 8, but it's all the way up to 7. Okay, so that tells me I can probably upsize this ring, I think. So I may try that. They sell a specialized tool to remove rings, but I just use these circlip pliers and they work fine. All right, I'm gonna go do some purchasing now that I have a rough idea of what I need.